When I was 7, I saw a girl die in church. She collapsed mid-sermon, her tiny body stiff as marble. Her mouth foamed, her eyes rolled back. I remember the way her mother screamed, a sound that lived under my skin for years. The priest said she was chosen, that her soul had been called home, but I knew something was wrong, even then, because the girl had been holding a doll, not just any doll. A small hand-sewn thing with black button eyes and a lace veil over its head. And as they carried her body away, the doll slipped from her fingers and landed near the pew where I sat. Its head turned toward me. It smiled. That night, I dreamed of fire. Years passed, I buried the memory until I found the doll again. I was cleaning out my late grandmother's attic when I saw it, wrapped in yellowing cloth, tied with red thread. The moment I touched it, a memory hit me like thunder. That church, that girl, her eyes as they rolled back, white and void, and the doll's grin. I should have dropped it. But something inside me, something I can't explain, compelled me to keep it. I placed it on my bookshelf beneath a crucifix. That night I woke up gasping. I had dreamed of a little girl whispering the Lord's Prayer backwards. I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. Something heavy sat on my chest. And then I heard it. A voice, faint, feminine, so close to my ear it felt like it came from inside my head. She never left the church. You brought her home. The days that followed blurred into one long hallucination. The lights flickered every night at the same time. 3:33 a.m. Shadows moved against the walls, but nothing cast them. The doll changed positions. Its head would tilt slightly each morning. Once, I came home to find its veil had been removed and laid on my pillow. Underneath its lace, there was a sigil burned into its forehead. I didn't recognize it, but it felt ancient, sinister, something older than language. I took it to a priest. He refused to touch it. He asked me to leave, told me I'd invited something in, that some objects aren't just cursed, they're anchored. They don't just carry evil, he said, voice trembling. They become its mouthpiece. That night I awoke to Latin being whispered under my bed. When I looked, the doll was gone. I began seeing things that weren't there. My reflection would linger a moment longer after I turned away. My face distorted in photos, eyes too dark, smile too wide. Sometimes I'd hear children laughing in empty rooms. And worst of all, I began praying without realizing it. I'd wake up mid-verse, reciting psalms I hadn't heard in years. My lips would move, and I'd hear a second voice layered beneath mine, lower, twisted, hungry. I tried to get rid of it. I burned it. I buried it. I drowned it in a river 10 miles out. It always came back. Once, I found it sitting in my closet, wrapped in the veil again, only this time the veil was soaked in blood, and a note was pinned to its chest. The girl never died. She just changed faces. I finally broke. I confessed everything to my mother. She went pale, and then she told me something that shattered everything. My grandmother. She was one of the midwives at the church when that girl died. And before she passed, she confessed to a terrible sin. That she had taken the doll from the church altar after the girl's death. Not as a souvenir, but as an offering, a pact. Some dolls don't contain spirits, my mother whispered. They contain agreements, and I had inherited the curse. Last week I returned to that same church. It had long since shut down, abandoned. Graffiti covered the walls. The altar had collapsed. But the air was thick, still sacred somehow, sacred and violated. I placed the doll at the altar, lit a candle, and prayed. Harder than I ever had. I begged, I pleaded, and when I opened my eyes, the doll was gone. I thought I was free until last night. I heard knocking at my door. When I opened it, there was no one there, only a small box. Inside, the veil, soaked in blood again, and this time the message was written in ash across the inside of the lid. Amen.